Hi, I'm Greg, and welcome to another episode of Passion of the Geeks Unplugged. As it is most weeks on Unplugged, it's retro time. But don't worry, I'll leave the retro games to Pat. Today, I would like to talk retro movies. Inspired by my journey through the Criterion collection, more on that later, or in another episode, I thought I would like to provide you with a brief introductory guide into the vast world of silent movies. So, I'm going to give you a 5-step plan how to start to enjoy silent movies. Yeah, I'm going to be that guy today. I'm by no means trying to give you a comprehensive list. There are some big gaps in my watchography of silent movies, or whatever you want to call that, but I feel knowledgeable enough to give you some pointers on how to start your journey through silent film. This is not a best-of list. It's a list of easily accessible silent movies to get you kind of acquainted, to get you used to this different kind of movie. I'm a firm believer that expanding your horizon by challenging yourself or your viewing habits is very, very important. But I'm also going to try to make this challenge acceptable to you. Because I know that trying to get into something new can be very, very frustrating if you start with the wrong thing. So let's start with step 1. Why silent movies? Well, very, very easy. There are some fascinating gems there. There are works of art that stood or stand the test of time. We're talking movies here that are 100 or even more years old, and people still watch and enjoy them. I'm pretty sure that some of today's movies will be enjoyed in 100 years as well. But we have a pre-selected list here. So all the bad movies, or bad silent movies, they're basically gone. And all the movies all the silent movies that we still watch today, those are kind of the good ones. Those they decided, let's spend some money and make them or keep them available to the public. So a pre-selected list with the bad ones gone. That sounds pretty good to me. Silent movies are also artistically very, very interesting. Pre-sound, they were able to do some amazing things with the camera. And the focus on storytelling, on action, with just a few title cards, is basically the distillation of what movies are supposed to be. The whole idea of show, not tell. It's nowhere better than in a silent movie. Step 2. Not every silent movie is ideal to start. There are some big names, some well-known movies. Birth of a Nation by D. W. Griffith. Nosferatu by Friedrich Wilhelm Murnau. But I would strongly advise not to start with those. Start with a comedy. A silent movie comedy is the ideal way to get into silent movies. Laughter, it just works. It's the easiest way to get into this new art form. Personally, I'm a huge fan of Buster Keaton, so I would suggest to start with one of his movies. If you have access, start with some short films. If not, The Cameraman is a really, really great first silent movie. I would not start with The General, but The General should definitely be on the list. And The General should be on the list because it's probably one of the greatest silent movies ever made. But if you are a little bit familiar with silent movies, you're going to appreciate The General a little bit more. So Buster Keaton comedy, usually a very, very good place to start. The other big name is obviously Charlie Chaplin or Charles Chaplin. And you can't go wrong there. Personally, City Lights or The Kid is really great. Modern Times. There are so many great Charlie Chaplin movies, and they're all very, very suitable to get into it. There are other silent movie era comedians. There is Roscoe Arbuckle or Harry Lloyd. And even with those two as well, you can't go wrong starting your journey into silent movies by laughing a little bit. Step 3, don't walk into German Expressionism unprepared. When you talk silent movies, kind of the big thing that a lot of people tell you to, at some point get into is German Expressionism. But I think it's not the most accessible kind of cinema, and you should not rush it. So after you've become familiar with laughing a little bit, maybe expand your horizon a little bit with some German directors who did American movies because of some reason, maybe connected to the one reason depicted in The Great Dictator. They had to leave Germany, went to America, and did some pretty wild stuff, but because of the studio system, a bit toned down, which honestly makes it a little bit more accessible. Friedrich Wilhelm Murnau's Sunrise, A Tale of Two Humans from 1927, is a great introduction into that kind of movie. It's a journey with a little bit of humor, but there is actual drama and a proper story that actually, at least I thought a little bit about that movie after I watched it for the first time, and I've watched it many, many times since. And here there are other silent movies that you could go for. I mean, maybe this is the time to experiment with longer movies, or maybe a little bit weirder movies, or maybe go for that General by Buster Keaton or whatever. But just make sure that you're kind of ready to take the big step, which is step 4. Now we get weirder and longer. So there's so many movies at this point that you could go for. So this is where your taste in movies should be your main guide. I mean, if you like racist epics, Birth of a Nation, it's the way to go. I mean, yes, the movie is very, very problematic, but it's a big achievement in filmmaking nevertheless. And here I would argue it's time to experiment with the Germans. Robert Wiene's Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is a masterpiece. Friedrich Wilhelm Murnau's Nosferatu is a masterpiece as well, but be prepared for a slow burn. Especially the first part of the movie is very, very, very slow. It's probably one of my favorite depictions of the Dracula story, but it's a slow burn. If you like sci-fi, this is where you go for Fritz Lang's Metropolis. If you like kind of a different flavor of storytelling, don't forget the Russians. Battleship Potemkin by Sergei Eisenstein also deserves a place on your watch list, as do basically all the other movies by Sergei Eisenstein as well. Which brings me to the last and final step. Congratulations, you basically made it. Here we're at the end of my guide, honestly, and you have this new world of entertainment in front of you, and now it's time to experiment and seek out new or unfamiliar directors, Dreyer, and whatever you want to call them. And luckily for you, many silent movies are public domain and are freely available on the internet. That being said, I highly recommend investing in some decent editions with great picture quality, some decent audio track if there's music, and some cool supplemental material. It's not just because I think kind of supporting those companies who spend money and time and effort to make sure that those movies live on. It's also watching a movie in proper picture quality just is a different experience. the Friedrich Wilhelm Murnau Trust. They have some great editions of mostly German silent movies. The Criterion Collection has a growing number of silent movies. And there are many, many box sets of great directors or great comedians out there, like Buster Keaton and Chaplin and so on. And my best recommendation at this point is, use the internet. If you find a comedian, if you find an actor, if you find a director that you like, explore what kind of other movies they made. If you can find a copy, chances are that the movie is very, very good. Not sure if this is as comprehensive as Pat's guides into retro gaming, but yeah, I thought I'd give this a try. So this is it for this week. Please like, share, and subscribe to our podcast. We're on all major podcasting services, on YouTube, and on www.passionofthegeeks.com. You can send in questions and suggestions to passionofthegeeks@gmail.com, and you can find us on Twitter @PassionOTGeeks. Take care.